All right, thank you, Cindy. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening for this workshop, very important workshop. We know that parking is a issue, it's a premium. You have to have employee parking, you have to have parking for your guests, so we're open for any constructive suggestions always, and it's not an easy deal to deal with, but glad you're here, and with that, I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And I'm gonna turn it over to Robert Holt here relatively quickly. We do want to review with you some information about the expansion of the Bishop Lane parking facility that was funded in this year's budget. There's a bid opening Thursday, but I think what we probably need to do is talk about a memorandum that we did put in your agenda package. And basically, the memorandum says that due to concerns that have been expressed since the last city commission meeting, and quite honestly, due to the crazy increase in gas prices that have occurred since the last city commission meeting, that we are suggesting now some modifications to what happened at the last meeting. Again, this is just a administration suggestions, recommendations to not increase the monthly permits as the previous ordinance did. The concerns about the high gas prices, about the impact of that just on the being able to get employees, period. And so we have suggested that in this memorandum. We have also suggested that to modify the limit that was approved at the last city commission meeting, which was 100 permits per business that could be purchased, with 50 only being able to be used at one time. And we're recommending, and I'm not sure if math is right, Robert, I was just asked about this a few minutes ago. We said 160 permits, with 70 being able to be used at one time. Was that a math deal, or was that something that we call, instead of it being 50%, like 100 and, you know what I'm saying?
140 and 70.
140 and 70.
Was it 140 and 70?
I think 160 was the high number we decided we might be able to live with, so we could adjust the bottom number.
Okay. So, that is what, we placed in your agenda package for your consideration and in conversation here today. And I guess with that, I would pause to see what else we might be able to, what other input we might be able to give you to help in your consideration and conversation before we show you the Bishop Lane, or we can go ahead and show you Bishop Lane. What's your pleasure?
Bishop Lane, I think we
Okay.
should identify that too as the library lot, which a lot of you are familiar with that.
Yes, yeah, that's what we're talking about, is the old library law.
How many spaces are in the deck?
Which
The
day?
deck and the McMahon.
366.
So, are you doing
Sure,
this, Greg?
yes.
I think we simply have, 3 slides, Greg?
Yes, just 3 slides. Currently, we have this project out for bid until 2:30 on Thursday. This first slide, as you can see, is the current parking lot, and that's the library that's identified with the red around it. So what's going to have to be done, we're going to lose 20 spaces during this demo, and it's basically these spaces right here. We'll get to keep everything else here. And we think this is just going to take like a 3-week actually to demo it, where we would be down those 20 spots. But go to the next slide. When we get finished, this is phase 1 of this project. We thought doing it now and just affecting this 3 weeks and 20 spots. In the first phase, we'd do this. So we, okay. Okay. So in doing so, we will gain 30 more spots right there, which will bring our limit up to 118 from 88. Currently, it's 88 as it sits today. So this will bring it up to 118.
It says gain 30 spaces on a temporary basis. What does that mean?
Yes, and that's those So that doesn't work on that TV.
That's 30 spaces, but why is it temporary?
Well, he's gonna
Okay,
tell you.
go to the next slide.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this mark is, when we get finished, this is the second phase. When we get finished with that, we'll have 116 spots and 5 handicap spots that we've had to put in up there. And the reason that it's temporary is, being the time of year that it is, there was concern with Cindy and all of us in discussion about trying to do this project in the busiest time of the year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're not gonna lose in the end. We'll have 2 more spots temporarily because of the handicap spots, because we have them exteriorly right now. But in the end, we'll pick up and have 116 spaces there.
Compared to what we
So-
have now, 88?
We have
Yeah.
88, yes, so we're picking up 28 spaces.
Will the parking on the street go away?
The parking on the street, those, I think we have a couple of handicap spots there. I think those are going away, Larry?
They are going away,
Okay.
going to be.
So
converted to the
I'm
interior.
fuzzy. So we're picking up, how many spots in total will there be when this is done?
20,
No, how many total in the whole lot?
the
118.
116. So
118.
116?
Well, 118 is gonna be in the temporary phase.
They're asking at the end.
Okay.
At the
When
end,
it's
it's
all
116.
So temporary 118, in the end
Okay,
116.
go back to the middle slide. So Chad,
Something to do
Chad,
with,
in this one, we
handicap.
pick up, this is the phase 1. And we pick up these 30 spots. If you count them all, there's 118. Go to the next
Are we
slide.
required to have that many handicap spots?
Yes.
Asked the
Even
same
as an
question.
employee?
I asked the same question today, did I not?
That is correct.
And what is the answer?
And the answer is it's a federal requirement. It comes straight out of the federal register. You gotta have one space for every 25, one handicap space for every 25
It's right there.
parking spaces. And I think it works out to 6 spaces. And one of those 6 have to be van accessible spaces.
Okay.
So that's what we have here. So the reason you ask what's the difference in 118 and 116, it's when we do the entire project, putting in the 5 handicap with the van accessible, that's where we
So
lose
that
2 spots.
116 is including that 5 handicap,
Yes.
but then the employees are not gonna be able to park there because they don't have a handicap tag? So we're really not even getting that many.
Well, we're gonna net probably 23, 22.
I'm just saying, we're trying to do employees, so putting those in, we're gonna really lose.
Is there, and I raised the same issue today when they were going over this with me, and the number of handicap spaces, said exactly the same thing you said. If this is just for employee parking, do we have to have that many, et cetera? So, I mean, is there no way around that? Are there any alternatives?
I couldn't find any exceptions. in
Well, what about this? What if we offer handicap to all, because this is all employee parking here, right?
Right.
So if we offer all handicap for that month, and if nobody takes it, then we say it's open to everybody. Because nobody's taking it, why can't we offer it for everybody to park there? If
Just
we-
don't enforce it, piece-wise.
Yeah, I just wonder if we have to enforce it.
Well, to be fair, we probably have some handicapped employees.
Yeah.
Right?
But I'm
Yeah.
just,
That
I'm
will
just
use
saying that we need to ask the
Yeah.
employees who's buying it if they have any handicap.
Yeah, we just need to-
Specifically for that
To
person.
Bob's point, we don't enforce it if nobody's using it.
Right.
You know, but one thing we don't want is to fill up with normal people and then handicapped don't have a place to park, right? We need to make sure that's
Yeah,
accurate.
we don't want a lawsuit.
Here's what's gonna happen. I mean, if you ever go to that parking lot now, about 10:30, they're waiting in line. So you got 6 handicap spots, 5 handicap spots.
I said 6, but it's 5.
Somebody's gonna be parking in them because they gotta get to work, and they're not gonna be handicapped. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. And what else are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So?
that's true.
Is that like first shift people, 10, 15, that they're
Most
waiting?
people, I mean, now at 9:30, the library lot's getting full. I mean, hopefully y'all gonna put this up for bid and tear it down tomorrow and be done by Friday. I mean,
No, well, it's not
I'm just
quite
telling you,
that.
parking is a premium for employees, and they quit just like that, because they go up there and they wait 45 minutes, an hour. They come in, work a half an hour early, then they have to wait.
Yeah.
They don't wanna do that. I mean, we need to get this done.
Any problem with the loss of the city restrooms?
They're at the,
Yeah, I mean, are those used? I mean, are they locked? Are they used? I'm not.
Well, we
I've
had
had
them locked
complaints.
for a little while, and then we opened one side. Do you know any more about that? Where's Lawrence? You can tell us
All I know is
exactly.
both sides are open.
Both are?
I've had people I've actually had people call asking if we're gonna put bathrooms in there because it's needed.
Well,
You talking about the lower lots?
No, at the old
I mean,
library
I
has
think
city
that's where you
restrooms.
gotta balance it out, right?
I-
I mean.
I'm not advocating we don't tear it down, don't get me wrong, I'm just pointing out that we lack city restrooms as a rule, right? Like, I mean, it's, you know, you can't ever have enough restrooms
Right.
as a rule, so I don't have a
But remember,
solution to that.
this is employee only. So I'm going
That's
to
true.
work and I'm gonna go work in the village at Dan's shop and surely he's gonna let me use the restroom if
Well, I say we put up a sign
Are
sending
you-
people to the village for the restroom.
Dan,
That'll be fine,
Dan,
everybody
are
else
you gonna-
comes there.
Are you gonna let me use the restroom?
I'll even let you use it.
See,
We just put a single outhouse, family.
Dan, you're saying that at 9 o'clock in the morning,
By 10:15, there's a wait line.
even now,
Yes,
even
I
in the
mean,
dead
y'all,
of,
it's packed over there.
in the dead of
No, it
winter.
is, it's packed,
We
there's no
don't
question
have a
about it.
slow season. Plus, there's no place, I mean, there's,
I thought it was all permit only. Did we,
It
did
Yes,
we oversell them or
yes,
something?
no,
yeah,
well,
we're not guaranteed a spot. I mean, so our employees wait. If they come, and then if you have somebody come in at 2,
Well,
they're really
we gotta tear down the library.
Yeah.
We gotta add the.
yeah, I thought we
handicap
were tearing
spaces.
down the library.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah, we are. I
We
would just,
don't need to put bathrooms there.
I'm not
That's a waste
suggesting,
of
I'm not
time.
We
suggesting we
need
do
to
that.
maximize as many spaces as we can.
You don't know what, you
Correct.
don't wanna know what happens in them bathrooms.
I bet.
People that walked out of there, they're different sexes, Mary's going, what's the dang deal there?
You're not coming to enough workshops, but you're keeping it spicy, I like that,
I'm
Dan.
just telling you. I'm just saying, you
Okay,
don't
how many
need the
maximum
bathroom.
spots we give if we don't have bathrooms?
So the backup
We-
is.
What
we're not gonna
what
have
he's
right here.
showing.
What I'm showing is
No,
For the
right, okay,
shifts.
so we don't need
For
to
the
worry
shift
about that,
change.
just leave it like it is.
Yeah,
That's what
somebody
I'm
has to
looking
come
at.
in before shift change. If you have a 12 o'clock person,
I've been trying to.
They're
get
really-
bathrooms out of Rocky Top for
Let's
10
blow that
years.
baby
I just
up and add
haven't
those
seen
handicap spots. The
But
federal
that's not
government's
gonna
gonna
solve the
mandate
problem.
The porta
How do we
potties.
solve
30 spots will
the
help.
waiting problem?
it. You're not.
Well, my thing is, do they all have key cards? Is that how they do? They go in, they scan their key card?
The
to
details
get
are
in?
right here.
So if they're doing that, don't,
The answer though.
You don't know about
we
how
should
they
be
get
selling more
in?
than what lots
We
we
sell
have there.
cards, don't we?
Yeah.
That's
They
what
can
he's
use them
asking
there
right now.
or
That's
they're
all
very
he's asking.
No, he said how we solve the
places.
places.
No, he
What?
just asked about the cards.
Not to Quinn
Chad
Ross.
just asked
Well,
about the
I
cards.
think about
Don't
We look at Chad.
Don't we have
it's
different
major.
technology for our cards? And that we can say that when you give them a card to park at, and you say, this is for Bishop Lane only, and you sell just enough for that space where everybody has it, then everybody else that takes those first, and everybody else has to go McMahon. That way you won't have people crowded there waiting to try to find a
Well,
parking spot.
McMahon fills up by 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
No,
both-
it's packed by 10:30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you go by McMahon at
It's
8
not.
o'clock in the morning, that number usually says like 3:03.
You can
That's
buy
what
10:30.
They can't, I mean, they have the option of going there, Chad. I mean,
I'm
they-
just saying, can you not, I mean, you can tie to each parking place, those cards. Because it's only gonna work at Bishop, and this one's only gonna work at.
Well, we
McMahon.
can do that. That's possible, but there are, but we've traditionally, even when we had the paper permits, that people who could not find a parking spot at the village could also park, they could overflow park at McMahon or at Parkway Garage. So now they can be, we've just updated our software where our equipment to where, you can be, you can just do McMahon Garage or both.
Well, I'm just
But-
saying, if you have assigned more parking, you're not gonna have people waiting in line,
Yeah,
backing
but
out.
I
Yeah.
think the point is that the
Both
supply
would be both.
way, well, that's wrong, let me say it right. The demand way outweighs the supply,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's just that simple. So if you start limiting it, then you're really going to, I think, add to the problem, aren't you?
Also,
I'm
you're
looking
gonna
at
have
you
some
business
come
people.
in. I mean, I buy 7 permits just from my old shop, and they come in at different times. So if you reserve those 7, if they work night shift, that day shift spot's gonna be open. And people change shifts all the time.
So basically, we run it like an airline, we're overselling.
Yep.
And just praying people don't show up, so we don't bump people out of
Just give them your
spots.
phone.
Which was the, thinking behind
Yeah.
trying to have some kind of limitation of the
Right.
numbers being sold.
Well, there's no solving that here, I can tell you that. Let's get rid of the library and add what we can to start, and there's no getting around the handicap spaces, so there's no point in talking about that. I don't wanna be in Leavenworth, do you? So,
We need to find employees that have that
Yeah.
need.
Let me ask you a question, Dan. If we're talking about building a garage up on Reagan Drive, if we did that for employee parking, would your people walk from there down to your store?
I mean, they can't even walk hard to some of them. I mean, that's not gonna happen. You know, if they, just like for instance today, a guy came to the village that lives at Dudley Creek Bypass at Steve Ogle's house. Took him, he walked down to Domino's to catch the trolley. He said, I waited for about an hour. So, if that employee's at Reagan Drive, he misses the trolley, then he has to wait, then you have to wait going home. They're not gonna work in Gatlinburg. They'll go somewhere else and work. I mean, I wouldn't go up there and wait.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, I will take 1,000 parking spaces in Gatlinburg. I'll pay for them tomorrow. 1,000.
Will you pay for our parking garages? It's
No, I'm fine with parking
$17 million, you got that?
You know, I consider it.
I mean, if we're
The
really,
challenge is, I mean, we have 450 employees. So we were buying 300 spaces in the garage. Well, the garage only holds 370, you know? So obviously there's a problem there. And so by 10:30 in the morning, it was full. And I know the new ordinance, and so I'm not here really opposed to it, and the reason why is because we had just got done we're building, you know, we took 3 other lots that we had, and we're building our own parking. So we are building actually we're using our Mountain Brook parking lot, we have extra parking in Mountain Brook. We are building that lot right there in front of Anarchy, so when you drive down Bassett Street Bypass, about 35 cars. We just put 75 new parking spaces in next to the Smoky Mountain Student Lodge, you know? So now we're moving all of our employees, you have to have a van shuttle to take them around, so that's gonna free up those spaces in the McMahon garage. But that unfortunately doesn't solve the problem, it doesn't allow us to grow, and those are all temporary uses. I mean, we can't keep them, Smoky Mountain Student Lodge, it's gonna get redeveloped, and those spaces are gonna go. And I honestly, I think the Fun Mountain property, you know, it was a dog. Nobody parked there. Guess what? I drove by it today. I mean, the whole upper lot is filled.
Sure.
I mean, they parked probably 400, 500 cars in that lot now. I mean, and if I was them, I wouldn't develop that property. I'd leave it as a, you know, big old parking lot, and, which I don't think is good for Gatlinburg long-term wise either, frankly. I mean, this parking issue at this end of town is an incredible problem. I mean, you've got Anakeesty, you've got Old Red, you know, Margaritaville, you've got guest parking, but you don't have employee parking, I assume. So, I mean, so these are massive. I mean, again, we have 450 employees, you know, so we've been spending $10,000 a month with the city for the last, I don't know how long, Robert, a year and a half, you know? And that number is supposed to double, I guess maybe it's not, but anyway, it's a huge problem. And we can't function, we cannot, and then now I'm coming to the city in the next month with this massive expansion for Anakeesta, which increases the number of employees by 60%. So where do my 650 employees park? and that's, it's a major challenge, you know, it's a huge problem, so. And I have some thoughts, but I just think
We're at about 100, we'll go up to about 130 in peak.
and are they mostly parking garage, or where are they?
They're all parking garages. We don't have
McMahon.
anything on it.
Okay.
Over a couple of shifts though, isn't it?
Correct.
It's not at one time.
an idea, and I don't know if it'd even be available, if you could do it, it's just sitting there. The lot, when you come down Dudley Creek bypass at the school board.
You mean baskets?
Yeah, Baskins.
There you go.
Yes, Baskins.
Bill
The new
Cox.
road, as Mary Ann and I call it.
The
The Bill
what?
Cox Highway, down over the hill right there. When you get to the bottom, on the right, where the Kingwood Motel is, where you swap.
Where their playground was supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's not ever gonna be there, part of it would be a great place for a parking garage. You could get people to walk there, they could slide over to his place, to her place, to their place, and you could go up right there. Just a thought.
School board on that now?
Yes.
I mean, it's quite a large lot, it might work. be worth looking at.
It has been. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
And is. That's it.
Okay. Well, just a good thought for all of us.
But, you know, like I said earlier, we're always looking for any good creative input, any thought. Appreciate, Bob, what you're doing, creating your own parking. I mean, you didn't have a choice.
Well, it's a good thing we planned it a while back. We didn't,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a problem. And honestly, we've had other properties we've tried to buy, and one reason or the other, we weren't been able to do so. We've desperately tried to get parking.
Well,
I'm
you
go-
gentlemen and ladies, do you have a solution?
Could I, well, yeah, the solution is to spend $1 gazillion building parking decks.
Well-
I'm gonna speak on their behalf because I've heard it.
Well, I don't
you know,
think we're gonna do
that's-
that, but I was wondering if there's an easy fix that you can see.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think I brought this up during the last discussion, but, and I had Seth, where's Seth, research it, and I was kinda sorta right, but just kinda like I usually am, not just exactly right on the money, but C1 zoning is what really impacts the parking issue. C1 zoning, except for a hotel, does not require any parking. And I know that you all know what I'm talking about. And, of course, C1 zoning, what will we be but for C1 zoning, right? Because C1 zoning
That's
is
what
what
made
developed the
Gatlinburg what it is.
downtown.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's
exactly
what
made
developed
Gatlinburg.
downtown, right? That's why
Yeah.
what year was it do you remember what year that one was?
I can find out. real
That's how you
quick.
can have a walking community.
That's how you could have the pedestrian walking community and all those kind of things. But I just bring that out because I do think there are, and candidly, right, annexes to C1 zone.
Let me ask you guys something.
78.
Say like the Legion lot here, if you had a couple designated trolleys, could it be worked out with when businesses really need them moved, you know, to
Probably gonna
downtown?
move, you've seen how far the traffic's backed up on 321.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, they're not gonna do that.
okay.
I mean, that would be my answer to that.
Then instead of one person being late, I've got 25 people who are late to work because they're sitting in the same trolley.
I don't think any of us, our
They are.
employees, are gonna park on Reagan Drive, honestly. I know that I made that comment before. There's no way. And the other problem, I mean, I'm a land planner for my profession, right? So, you know, I'm an urban planner, and why would you would not wanna put, you know, employee parking, I wouldn't think, in a hard place to get to, because now all of these, now you already have a lot of traffic in downtown Gatlinburg. Now you're taking all of these employees and you're adding to that traffic, you're making them drive to the middle of downtown Gatlinburg, and then having to transport them to wherever they're working at. It makes a whole lot more sense to have peripheral parking lots, really, frankly, that can live. Sorry, my phone ringing. So that they can go. And you don't want all of our employees driving in the middle of Gatlinburg, frankly, unless they work in the middle of Gatlinburg. You
And
know, you
that's the
really
same thing with the trolleys too. You could have 10 trolleys, they're still gonna be stuck in traffic.
want-
Does the existing garage have the engineering to add?
No, we,
McMahon
it
does.
was,
Does not.
are you talking, yeah.
To go up further, yeah.
We
Yeah.
thought it did, but it did not. Is
Well,
that
it was
correct?
designed to do that when it was built 20 years ago. The codes have changed, and with the newer codes, and I'm saying even, what were we talking about today, 2018 codes even?
Probably.
Seismic
Windshield.
requirements prohibited. But it was built with that in mind. We did very consciously think and plan and do that, but it doesn't work. Now, without going in and I don't wanna say anymore, I'll confuse it. Larry, you know about this. Would you speak to that for
Yeah,
just a minute?
basically the seismic design requirements did change, which require some additional reinforcement and foundation improvements on the lower floors, add shear walls and things like that to keep the racking from occurring so badly. So that's what really increases the cost, is those lower floor improvements, not just the additions of the upper decks.
Correct. I guess going down somewhere, is that the question too? That's probably more cost effective.
We just don't got enough land, is what it amounts to, for our popularity. So this is just a problem that's gonna continue, and I can't solve it right here, I can tell you that. I mean, I don't, unless somebody else has some brilliant idea. So
What
let's
about
knock down
it?
that building.
What about Harry Montgomery's families? or his wife's old family's property. If you do a
We've
parking
talked
garage
about that, I
Laura,
don't know how
what-
it sits now, but we were
Well,
talking
it's-
about a parking garage there, but that property may not be available now, so.
Well, no, I mean, I don't even think it's available to talk about.
Okay.
I'm sadly familiar with that kind of process, so.
Yeah.
It's too
I mean, we
soon.
really need a parking garage somewhere else.
Well, what you mentioned about the bottom of the Bastions or Bill Cox bypass is by far the primo spot.
Okay,
I mean, it's one of those things, is we gotta do something, because we're increasing people every day, and it's increasing the money the city gets, we're gonna have to do something.
I mean, the employees obviously is the most, is number one. Now, if I'm a hotel, I'm not really worried about my guests, because my guests, they park in my hotel. But if you're a restaurant, if you're a retail shop, if you're attracting, exactly what Cindy said, really. If you're zone C1 and you have no parking, so it's a double-edged sword. You can't have no parking for your employees, and you have no parking for your, frankly, for your guests either. You know, in our particular case, we become more of a destination. People come, and then they come all the way to Gatlinburg to come see us, and then they cannot find a place to park. And so this makes us seriously question, how do we go forward in the future? So we have these massive plans, and we're like, where are these people gonna go? You know, where are they gonna park? And it's a problem. So it's not a simple problem. I will say that, you know, and maybe we've already done this. I don't know what the city's done, but I mean, really, you know, you have a defined amount of hotels, employees, retail, restaurants. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to do a parking analysis for the city of Gatlinburg and try to determine where those demands are. And although I think we probably all know where they are. So, but still, it would be good to know. I mean, I just think we need to address it. And then really, it is in the form of parking garages. It's going to, and I mean, honestly, I've been saying, people laugh at me when I say it, but we need not hundreds of spaces. We only need 28 spaces. We need thousands of parking spaces. I mean, we need at least 1,000 to 2,000 parking spaces to be planned for Gatlinburg, not only for today, but also into the future, into the growth. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm sure that we could use 1,000 parking spaces just for Anarchista, at least that many, maybe more.
Mark Adams, if I could ask you a question. You know, we've talked before about working on a very usable app that would show what spaces are available in the private sector, private lots. Are we making progress on that, or?
Yeah, we do keep our app, the Visit Gatlinburg app. We've added parking on there. It's not very good. ILM, their parking lots they have a good website that lets you know how many spots are available there. I mean, people are creatures of habit. I mean, our visitors also want to park in the same parking lot in the middle of town.
Sure.
And not walk or at a far distance. But we have taken the stance from the CBB and Chamber standpoint where we don't care if it's a city-owned lot or a privately owned lot. We want the visitor to have a great parking experience and a visit to Gatlinburg. So we're starting to include that on our apps and on the websites and more visitor-friendly places to park and really highlighting parking more than we ever have before because as Bob said, I mean, the traffic just to get in now is just, it's pretty intense.
I think the app would be really helpful if people could see where there were available spots or other parking possibilities, and you'd have to give them enough knowledge to know to go to that app. Maybe it's temporary, some signage coming into town like we did
Yeah,
during
and Mayor,
COVID.
one of the things that we talked about in a staff meeting a few weeks ago is how do we direct people, visitors, up and over the bypass and come back in from the other end of town? Just to try and alleviate some of the traffic coming in. Because there is some parking more at the other end of town that's more readily available.
Well, the traffic was backed up, traffic light 1 today coming into town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could take an hour or more sometimes coming from Appy Lodge just to get to our property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an issue, that's a problem. We stood in our ballroom, look out and be like, yep, here everybody comes.
Look, Ryan said we just don't have the real
Which is not a bad problem to
estate.
have, we want the tourists,
It's not there,
but,
so.
We asked them to come.
yep.
We're compact and it's tight.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we-
Now that we asked them to come, we need to carpool.
So, and our messaging too, I'll interject this, is you're gonna see us come up with some messaging that really enhances staying in Gatlinburg as opposed to one of our sister cities to help alleviate some of that. But we only have so many hotel rooms, and occupancy's been pretty good the last year and a half, 2 years now. And talking to some of the major hoteliers in town, they're very happy with the future bookings so far this year.
And we have to remember on pretty days, you get so many day trippers just coming in, and that really changes the situation.
Day troopers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about too, where else could you put a lot? I mean, the old Bell's Motel's just sitting there rotten. I mean, if you think
That's a
outside the
good
box.
point, actually.
There's some area right in there, I think, that has potential. Even if you turn coming down to the Bill Cox bypass and you make a left where Dorothy Johnson's house is, and then you make that next left, there's like an old red brick, and seems like 2 or 3 empty lots sitting there.
I think it's where Bradley's Court used to be.
I think it is, yeah.
You know them that?
You know,
Where
is that
Bradley's
even
Court was at the bottom of the hill.
pursuing it?
I don't know.
Because that'd be another, just a flat lot that needs to be
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. Somebody was talking about doing something up in there 2 or 3 years back. I don't remember.
Does it?
Was it
He
you?
owns it.
But-
Oh, you own Bradley Court, the old Bradley
The
Court?
old
Did you-
Bradley Court, when you come down the bypass to the left, you on that? Where those old cabins are, old houses? No? That'd be a spot.
Yeah.
That's a big lodge.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. So I've talked to that guy a number of times, actually,
Yeah.
myself. I know the guy, and he's another challenged property owner.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Who owns that vacant lot in front of your apartments? Is that Jim and?
Aaron, the Threet family, Rodney Threet, Rodney,
That's Clay cleared, that they were gonna put a campground or something?
And this would be my family.
Yeah.
right,
That
My
was-
husband's family.
right.
And Jim was in on that? No?
Jim who?
Ogle?
No.
No.
So, Mayor, to answer your question on our Gatlinburg app, so which we get 1.5 million sessions a year. So it actually, it's attractions, outdoors, spirits, Smokies, trolley, parking. And then when you hit parking, it's got general parking information and parking lot availability.
Oh, wow.
So you can actually pull up and see, some availability at some of the city lots, and then it also gives you other options as well.
But
Do-
it's
do we
not,
have-
it's mainly the city lots, isn't it?
Correct.
Do we
It's
advertise?
It's only the city lots.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not the private party.
Yeah.
Correct, Seth?
Right.
It's actually just the
So don't get real excited because it's just our lot.
gotcha.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
our
I'm with
spaces.
you, okay.
Yeah.
And
Now,
that-
under general parking, we have a map that shows you where all of the parking in town is here.
But the only thing you can do real time is associated with city lots.
Correct.
Because of the digital parking stuff that got installed
Telemetry and whatnot.
at the 2 garages.
And is that advertised on our chamber site?
It is.
Okay.
So, and on the website, and the app and everything, so it says vacation guides.
It's gotta help some. Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Anything else? Anybody wants to, and we're aware of the problem, and we're definitely looking at whatever we can do to
When
resolve
is
it.
the date that you're looking to take down the building? with the lot?
Okay, so let's talk about that, Greg, Larry. Bid opening is this Thursday, the 24th, Larry.
Hopefully we'll have an award the following Monday.
Well, that's, this'll be, we'll be sending out a memorandum, depending on how the bid comes in, we think it's gonna be a bid, not bids, and, cause you can't hardly get anyone to bid on anything, doing anything. We got 2 single bids on the agenda tonight, and I hate single bids, but that's just where we are at this point. And so, we would be asking for informal authorization to proceed is the way that we can do what he's saying on Monday, because there's not a city commission meeting. And since the bid opening fell 2 days after quite candidly, probably should have been last week, but I guess we're ready to get it there. Huh? What, sir?
We weren't able to get it done.
Yeah. So, what's the time frame once they, didn't you say, Greg, 3 weeks is what it would take?
Yes. And we gotta get some asbestos out and things like that. But the actual timeline is, in the bid documents, is May 21st, but it'll only be a 3-week window. That
Be
there's-
done by
that-
May 21st?
Yes, be completely done with that, picking up those extra 30 spots by May 21st. But it's only gonna have a 3-week window where there's disruption to the parking lot.
So from May first to the 21st? I guess I'm thinking about Easter.
Yeah.
If they're gonna don't shut down any spots during Easter, work from the side of where.
I think it'd probably be about the 3rd week of April, wouldn't you think?
I think so.
This is gonna hit for where,
And
and certainly I think we could work around anything to make that 3-week window in there.
Keep,
Well, yeah, this is one of these deals, there's no good time, right? Really?
February.
Well, yeah. Let me grab that back. I wish I could grab back some things. That'd be,
But as fast as we can get it done.
Yeah, I'm just saying, try not to keep the parking spots open as long as you can until you have to get some equipment in there. You know, if you have asbestos removal work from the mountain house side, where those spots are and stuff, could you do that?
we can.
I mean, 20 spots is a
Right.
lot of spots to
Yeah.
shut down.
And who anticipate will be the bidder on this is, of course, is agreed to work with us on keeping those spaces open, if at all possible. There's gonna have to get up, there's some sidewalk area that'll have to be demolished adjacent to those parking spaces, and then when they move equipment in there to put the binder down, we're gonna put the underlayment, layer binder, and then phase 2 would be the top layer, the top coat. But, they'll work with us.
Yeah, I don't think those 20 spaces will be shut down the entire time of the 3 weeks, but just during those times, because they said they would move those fence back at times when they weren't working in those areas.
They promise to do that, do they?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Larry and I may be over dragging it back over.
I think
so-
you should be, because I could just see them ain't doing that. You know contractors, they're not, do nothing that's not gonna be easy on them, so, okay. I had no further questions.
Very good. Okay. We're adjourned. Thanks for coming.